This video is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Hello, baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
I think the question now, we've talked about where this is going to be for this year. We've talked about where Jorge fits in for this year. I want to talk about where he fits in going forward. Okay, because here's the deal. The Braves picked up Soler's contract, and this cannot go without saying. Soler's contract is backloaded. After this year, he will be owed $2,370,900, whatever, or whatever that is, right? So he's going to be owed a little over $2 million. After that, in 2025 and 2026, he's going to be owed $13 million apiece. So at the end of the day, the Braves are taking on extra cash, and we know that, they know that, and they're willing to risk it on Jorge Soler. I don't necessarily mind it. I don't love it, but I get what they're doing, because here's the other thing, right? When you look towards the future, this is the Braves outfield beyond 2024 as it stands today, not including Luke Williams, Ramon Laureano, Eddie Rosario, and lack of a better word, filler pieces. These are the guys who we've committed substantial time to and are fundamental parts of the outfield, including Marcell Ozuna for other reasons. Ronald Acuña Jr. is a free agent in 2027. Michael Harris, 2031. Jared Kelenic, 2029. So there's not really a spot there once Ronald Acuña comes back, and of course once Michael Harris comes back, where Soler is guaranteed to start every day. There's just not, especially when you're only paying you're paying all of these guys less than what Soler will be making. You could trade one of them, sure, but doesn't Kelenic give you more worth than $760,000? And he only hits arbitration next year. He's a solid player. He's a better defender, arguably, than Soler or Ozuna. And never mind. That's not arguable. That's a fact. And he's not a free agent for another 5 years. So at the end of the day, when you look at that, where does Soler fit in, right? Well, you have a DH spot, but Marcell Ozuna has been really good so far this year. There's no denying that. Ozuna, through 105 games played, he's got a .306 average. He's got over 30 homers, almost an 1,000 OPS. There has been no better player on the Braves this year as a hitter than Marcell Ozuna. Some people would argue, well, Tyler, that's all he does is hit. He's a DH. Sure, but why remove him when you have a club option for $16 million next year? Why remove him and put in Soler, who's not giving you those results? Yes, you'll pay slightly less, but again, you won't have the results necessarily that Ozuna has given you. So why do it? And that's the interesting piece here, right? If this was a few years ago, I put out a video talking about how the Braves could somehow trade Marcell Ozuna and bring back Jorge Soler because of the performance Marcell was doing, obviously the off-the-field issues and that kind of thing. But we were talking about this. This was a legit topic back after 2021, right? Ozuna got hurt that year. He got in trouble that year. And we were sitting here talking about the possibility of bringing back Soler. Now it's a reality. And the Braves are going to have to decide what they do at the end of the year. Now, I'm going to tell you what Alex Anthopoulos said. Alex Anthopoulos got on the call today and basically said, look, we see Soler as an outfielder. We think he can find time in the outfield next year. And really, following next year, Ronald Acuña, I don't know if he's going to play the field or not. And I don't want to suggest that and it not be true. But there is a large contingency of Braves media, large contingency of Braves fans. And you have to speculate. The guy's busted his knees twice now. So you don't know if he's going to play the field. You don't know what kind of condition he's going to be in at the beginning of the year. But I would like to propose the idea that, Braves could walk away from Ozuna and keep Soler. The only reason they didn't re-sign Soler after 2021 was because of the money they had tied up in Ozuna that has obviously paid off in the latter years of the contract. But there early on, the Braves probably would have liked to have said, I wish we didn't make that original deal and we could sign Soler right now. That was kind of alluded to today in the press conference. Not said, they'll never say that, but you got to think that was running through their minds because we have one guy who didn't play the second half of the season in 2021, and we have another guy who just won the World Series MVP. I wonder who we'd rather have back. And you could probably pay him less or a shorter deal. But with Ozuna's 2024 campaign, which we mentioned earlier, great year so far. He's extremely hard to just walk away from, because without a doubt, if the Braves decide not to pick up his option, he goes to free agency and he can name his price. Now, the other component, the personal component of this, is the Braves have kind of nurtured Ozuna back to where he is. Ozuna has spoken pretty candidly in the clubhouse to media throughout the year that, and it's been on camera. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but he spoke pretty candidly about, look, I'd like a deal right now. I want to be here. I want them to go ahead and tell me I'm going to be here. I don't want to wait for the club option. I want to know that I'm going to be here, because he has found a home here. And look, I'm never one to judge anyone at their worst moments, but the fact that he has turned around like this, not only on the field, but also off the field, no one complains about what kind of teammate he is. There's something to be said for that. And I don't know that I would really want to see him go at this point.
Are you ready to save big on a new GMC?
At Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, you can own one of the best-selling vehicles in the USA. The GMC Sierra pickup is discounted up to $14,500 off. The roomy and comfortable GMC Terrains are up to $8,250 off. And the GMC Acadias with 3 spacious rows and seating for 7, discounted up to $8,000 off. At Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika,
Get ready to smile.
That's not necessarily the conversation that's being had, is we got to pick between Soler and Ozuna, but the possibility is there. So if you don't walk away from Ozuna and keep Soler, what's the other option? Well, the obvious choice would be to keep Soler and, move on from Ozuna, or keep Ozuna and move on from Soler. So how do you move on from Soler? Well, what if, and I'm just putting this out there, what if the Braves sign Jorge Soler, they pay him the $2 million for the remainder of this season, and after this season, they trade him? I just want you to think about it. Just think about it. At the end of the year, we're likely going to be down at least one starting pitcher with what's going on with Max Fried and Charlie Morton. There is that possibility that it could very well be that the Braves trade Jorge Soler, because they will owe him $26 million. Now, I believe that the Braves are open to paying that. I don't think they're running away from the salary. But if you can trade Jorge Soler and land a starting pitcher, wouldn't you do it? Especially if you can get Ozuna back, and you're getting Harris back, obviously, and you're getting Acuña back. Wouldn't you do that? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen. This is just something that ran through my mind when I was looking at the chart, the timeline of how everything shakes out. But look, you have Ronald Acuña coming back, and depending on his health for 2025, you'll have Michael Harris, you'll have Kelenic. They're all solid outfielders. Kelenick's had a good enough year to justify giving him another. He's been one of the bright spots, I think, in the lineup. To be honest, I personally, when I wrote this script before the press conference, I wrote down literally, I cannot see Ozuna or Soler playing the outfield beyond this season. Alex Anthopoulos completely turned it on its head when he said in the press conference that they view him as an outfielder for next year and the year following, for his contract, the length of his contract. Look, I think a decision is going to have to be made. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm throwing it out here. The price tag for 2024 for Soler is $2 million and change. The price tag next year is $13 million. The price tag after that is another $13 million. When you look at the stats, it's clear who's a better DH. Marcell Ozuna has been far better in the past year, and the past 2 years probably. That said, we all love Jorge Soler. We all love what he has done for the Braves in the past, and hopefully what he'll do in the future. But it's just something that's been running through my mind. Could this be a possibility? Now, I mentioned earlier what the Braves lost in this trade. Of course, Tyler Matzik. Tyler Matzik probably wasn't going to pitch for the rest of the year. May not ever, take the mound for the Braves ever again. So I don't necessarily mind losing that. And then the minor leaguer, again, I can afford to lose that in my head anyway. We'll have to see how it all plays out. The point I want to make here, either way, for those of you that don't like this trade, who don't like Jorge Soler coming back, because I know there's a contingency of you folks out there. I just want you to hear me. Let's say that you're right. Let's say that he's not meant to be here for the next 3 years, and this is a waste of time, and whatever the case may be. Either way, the Braves, at minimum, added to the offseason trade capital. Because if we get to the offseason this year and we do lose Max Fried and Charlie Morton to retirement, who do we have to trade for a starting pitcher? I mean, sure, we can go after free agents. I don't deny that. But who do we have? Right now, we got 2 DHs. And, that just provides a little bit of flexibility and a little bit of versatility come the offseason and come the time where we're going to have to find something. And, it's interesting. Look, Atlanta's going to make a run, I think, in the postseason either way. Having a bat like Jorge Soler for this year is really good. Beyond that, I don't really know. The Braves claim that they want him for the next 3 years. They've wanted him for the past 3 years. So they saw a future with him, but obviously they couldn't really navigate getting around Ozuna's contract and really finding him playing time if Ozuna was here. But now we need an outfielder, and they're going to put him there. Look, we're going to have there may be some times where the defense looks a little shaky, but it already does anyway. Not calling anybody out, but I mean, we've had moments where the defenses look bad. I don't think Jorge Soler is really going to add anything to that, and I really don't think that, or I do think that his offense far outweighs any defensive liabilities that he may have.
Are you ready to save big on a new Chevrolet?
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox, discounted up to $6,500 off. The powerful Chevy Silverados are up to $13,750 off. And the big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs are discounted up to $6,000 off. Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika.
Get ready to smile.
But that's just my take. I think this is a long-term strategy. You may not love it, but I think you see what's possible, and we'll see what happens. But all in all, I like the move. I like that Jorge Soler will be wearing the letter A on his cap for the rest of the year. I like that we got the World Series MVP back. I like that we didn't give up a lot, and frankly, I like that we didn't give up. I like that we did not turn into a seller. Alex Anthopoulos was asked in the press conference earlier, was there ever a time where you got a call about Max Fried, or you got a call about a certain player that, and of course he can't comment on anybody specifically, but he basically said, look, everybody knew that we were not a seller. Everybody knew. That was not our intention. We were very open about that in advance. And frankly, as a Braves podcaster, and I'm sure for you guys as Braves fans too, it's nice to know that the organization's not punting for the remainder of the year, because what investment could you really give to the team by watching if there's no chance at winning a World Series? And I know there's a lot of people out there that think there's no chance of winning the World Series. I'm sure the Phillies and the Diamondbacks fan bases thought that too, at least part of them over the past couple of years. But we've seen wild card teams make runs. I think this team will likely be a wild card team. I'd love it if they somehow won the division. But, I mean, there's no doubt that, to me, that if this team is a wild card team, they're going to be scary. This offense is going to be scary. You get Ozzie Albies back. You get Michael Harris back. You add Jorge Soler. And you got Whit Merrifield coming off the bench. You got Eddie Rosario on the bench. You got Marcell Ozuna, who can... I mean, he hit one, 450 feet the other day. So, I mean, I'm just saying this offense is going to be scary. This pitching staff is going to be scary. And again, out of all of what we can take away from the trade deadline, I'm glad we did not give up. This video has been presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.